This time last year, we stood in celebration. Finally, the truth came to light. The post office scandal exposed. Innocent lives reclaimed. Headlines filled with stories of vindication and justice long overdue. But this year, the tone has shifted. Instead of honoring the wrongfully convicted, the system has doubled down, denying compensation, dismissing accountability, and deflecting blame. Victor Nealon, Sam Hallam, Michael O'Brien, Andrew Malkinson, Brian Buckle, Janet Skinner, names that should symbolize justice achieved at last, are instead reminders of a system that refused to make amends. But this isn't where the story ends. As we close this year, we look ahead to new hope, bold reforms, and a fight to end the myth that perpetuates injustice. False allegations are not rare. Domestic violence knows no gender. And our justice system must defend the truth, not its own failures. Welcome to Spoken Injustice, where we put the criminal justice system in the dock. This video marks the final edition of our new session for the year, as we reflect on the experiences of the past year and look forward with renewed hope to the year ahead. Stay with us until the end of this video. We value your thoughts. Share your feedback. Let us know in the comments below if there is anything we may have overlooked. Your input makes our content better. Also, if you are enjoying our content and we are meeting your expectations, feel free to subscribe at any time. We are aiming at achieving 1,000 subscribers by next spring. Help us get there. Now, sit back and relax as we retrace the past, paint the present, and shape the future. Last year, our primary focus was on celebrating long overdue victories in the pursuit of justice. The revelation of the post office scandal brought to light through a truly rigorous and transparent inquiry marked a watershed moment. This exemplary inquiry demonstrated how such process should be conducted, leaving no stone unturned and centering on the humanity of those affected while exposing the systemic failures that wrought such devastating consequences. It was a stark reminder of the horrors that arise when institutions prioritize self-preservation over justice. We also witnessed the end of an appalling chapter for Andrew Malkinson, who endured 17 years of wrongful imprisonment. His ordeal marked by a relentless state machine trying to coerce him to confess to a crime he did not commit was a harrowing testament to the brutality of a system willing to prioritize its narrative over the truth. Similarly, Brian Buckle's Retrial uncovered the fabrications that unjustly stole years of his life and deeply impacted his family, stressing the real and present danger of false allegations. However, as we moved into this year, we confronted a justice system in denial, devoid of moral accountability and seemingly indifferent to the harm it causes. A system driven by perceptions rather than integrity. One of the worst countries in Europe for compensating its wrong citizens, the UK continues to fail those it has grievously wronged. We saw how out of 591 compensation applications received between April 2016 and March 2024, only 39 succeeded. It took them an average of 2.5 years to complete through to payment. The National Compensation Scheme has failed victims like Victor Nealon and Sam Hallam, who were denied redress when the European Court of Human Rights upheld their final defeats for compensation. We explored the judgment in our video, UK Justice Compensation Europe's Worst, which is linked in the description below. Similarly, Brian Buckle shared his experience with us on International Falsely Accused Day, recounting how the Ministry of Justice rejected his compensation claim. Let's remind ourselves what Brian told us.
This year, on the 5th of June, I had a letter back from the Ministry of Justice, and this is the actual letter from the Ministry of Justice. And what they say is, I have concluded that you do not meet the statutory test for compensation set out in section 133 of the Criminal Justice Act 1988. However, I do not consider that the effect of the newly discovered fact in your case demonstrates beyond reasonable doubt that you did not commit the offences for which you were convicted. So that's why they're not paying me. But then on the next paragraph, they turn around and they say, you are presumed to be and remain innocent of the charges brought against you.
Shame, shame, shame.
So my question is to the Ministry of Justice and to Keir Starmer, which one is it? Am I still guilty or am I innocent?
For Brian's full story, watch our video, Internationally Falsely Accused Day, London 2024, also linked in the description below. Meanwhile, Michael O'Brien and Paul Blackburn were compelled to seek a judicial review at the High Court, challenging the Ministry of Justice refusal to apply a new policy which eliminated living expenses deduction from compensation payments retrospectively, perpetuating injustice rather than correcting it. The post office scandal, emblematic of entrenched institutional failings, continues to reverberate. Despite public exposure, the institution resists meaningful change. Survivors like Janet Skinner are still being forced to relive the trauma of their unjust convictions as they await fair and, in some cases, any compensation. The leopard has not changed its spots, Harry Casey told us. It continues to victimize those it has already harmed, underscoring the systemic unwillingness to acknowledge and repair the damage done, as we have observed, commenting on the Horizon IT inquiry closing statements. And what are we to make of the Court of Appeal and the Thirlwall inquiry turning a blind eye to concerns raised by esteemed organizations such as the Royal Statistical Society and prominent medical and scientific experts? These experts argue that the statistical and medical evidence in Lucy Letby's trial failed to meet proper standards and that she was denied a fair trial. From the outset, a trial by media ensured that every inconsistency could be scrutinized by those with the appropriate knowledge and background. Yet the system has dismissed these valid concerns, labeling them as conspiracy theories or mere noise. Lucy Letby's lawyer is now seeking to reopen the case under Section 3615 of the Criminal Procedure Rules, a rare power the Court of Appeal exercises only in exceptional circumstances. A recent shift in the medical evidence previously presented at trial could arguably qualify as exceptional, as it has the potential to influence a jury's assessment of the expert expert witnesses' reliability, an assessment the jury can no longer make since the trial has concluded. We have also reflected on the grim reality that miscarriages of justice are set to rise, given the dire state of our criminal justice system. Legal aid is in shambles, turning legal representation and court access into luxuries rather than rights. Overcrowded prisons are packed with political detainees, wrongfully convicted individuals, and teenagers caught in the net of the joint enterprise doctrine, leaving limited space for genuinely dangerous criminals. Meanwhile, the court backlog grows so immense that it may ultimately be resolved by victims and defendants aging out of the system or passing away before their cases are heard. Equally troubling are the so-called solutions being proposed to address this crisis. Ideas like incentivizing guilty pleas risk swelling the ranks of innocent people in our overcrowded prisons, as seen in the post office inquiry, where many innocent individuals felt coerced into pleading guilty. Even more alarming is the suggestion to abolish jury trials, paving the way for political agendas and manipulations to seep further into our courtrooms. These measures, far from fixing the system, threaten to deepen the injustices it perpetuates. As we reflect, we are left grappling with a justice system that too often fails to act in the service of truth and humanity. The urgent need for reform is undeniable, yet it is equally essential to uphold justice based on the core principles of ethics, honesty, and integrity, with a deep respect for compassion and a resolute dedication for restoring the dignity of those harmed by institutional failures. As we eagerly anticipate the arrival of a bright new year, let us reflect on the assumptions that shape our society and legal systems. It is imperative to reconsider sweeping statements that can distort justice. Claims such as false allegations are rare. Domestic violence is a gendered crime mainly perpetrated by men against women, or that nearly every divorce or child custody case resolves around allegations of domestic abuse. These generalizations risk overshadowing the complexity and individuality of each case. We must be vigilant to ensure these broad narratives do not infiltrate our courtrooms in ways that enable the abuse of power. Justice demands that every case be evaluated on its own merits, with defense arguments receiving the same scrutiny and seriousness as prosecution arguments. While we firmly acknowledge the existence of evil and crime, it is equally vital that we do not label evil or crime as having a color, a gender, or an age. As we acknowledge the necessity of holding offenders accountable, we also deem vital to pursue solutions that extend beyond punitive measures. Education, social healing, economic opportunities, and fostering a sense of purpose are powerful tools for addressing the root causes of crime and building a safer society. Only by upholding such principles can we foster a fair and balanced legal system that serves truth and equity for all. I hope you found this video inspiring, and if so, please do like it and share it to help us drive reforms in our criminal justice system, making it accountable to people, not just rules. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to ensure this channel continues into the new year, bringing you the latest updates on issues affecting our criminal justice system. Finally, I take this opportunity to pass from the Spoken Injustice family best wishes for a prosperous, peaceful and hopeful new year. To close, I'd like to share some wise words, not my own, but sentiments I truly resonate with. These words come from Mahatma Gandhi. You must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is an ocean. If a few drops of that ocean are dirty, the ocean does not become dirty. Join us again as we sit and rise in this unique trial.